Hi everyone. So today we're going to talk about three key things about working in core engineering roles. One, how do candidates get selected in PSUs? Number two, what kind of resources and books people should read? And we will bust some very popular myths about the preparation. Number three, what do engineers do on day-to-day basis after getting selected in a public sector unit? So we have tried to answer all of these questions in simplest of language. So please watch the video till the very end to get a complete understanding of the core engineering roles.
So, Vikrant, can you tell us a brief journey about yourself from you being in college to where you are today?
Yeah, actually went to National Institute of Technology, Raipur. I did my BTech in electrical engineering, and I passed out in 2012 batch with distinction. And I got selected in Coal India through the placement. I joined CIL on 1st of August the same year, within 2 months. And since then, I have been posted at CMPDI, Central Mining and Planning and Design Institute, which is a subsidiary of Coal India and the planning division of Coal India. I started working in the electrical and mechanical department since I was an electrical engineer. And I worked in E&M department till 2020, December 2020, almost entire 2020. And then I have been transferred recently to the business department.
Yeah. Great. So if I talk about your core engineering experience, so one of the questions that we ask to everyone who comes to our platform is that what is it that you do on a day-to-day basis? So basically, if let's say there is a fresher who is going to join, let's say Coal India Limited in a similar place where you are working. So can you list out a few things that he is going to do on day-to-day basis?
See, usually in any core sector company, when anyone joins, what happens is the activities involved are actually very well planned out in the year, because core sector is again a production oriented company. There are something or the other which is being produced in the company. In our case, it is coal. In some other company, it may be an equipment or big equipment, like in case of BHEL or an NTPC, it may be power output. So for that to happen, the affairs are very planned. So whenever we join, first of all, we are actually oriented into that process, that what happens across the value chain, the entire technical process that happens. So this is how, first of all, things started happening, and then you are assigned your role, exactly as to what role you are going to play in that entire process. And with time, when we get promotions, those roles get varied. The extent of those roles, they started expanding. And it is particular to every kind of core sector, whichever core sector you are in. It will, your role, your assignments, your responsibilities will depend on that. But to talk about common points, which I think every engineering student should take care of if they want to work in the core sector, is that first of all, they should have a habit of expensive planning. Because any activity which you delay at your part will delay the entire process, and then it will have a cyclical impact on the entire process chain.
Yeah.
Second of all, which I would suggest to, and it happens to across all the core sector companies, is you need to have a very good working knowledge of certain softwares such as AutoCAD, which will be very helpful for, be it civil, be it electrical, be it mechanical. Any core sector engineering person will always have to use this in some or the other way, and a very good working knowledge of MS Office.
Okay.
Because what will happen is, in your day-to-day role, you will use a lot of these softwares, and sometimes in a very advanced capacity. So if you're not initiated into it, you might face some difficulties in your day-to-day work, or it might slow you down, and you might have to learn it from the back end and again come back to office. So it is better during your engineering time if you can learn those. And another important thing which I will suggest them to is to inculcate a culture of working within a team.
Yeah.
Because any core sector activity, there are a lot of responsibility. You will need to support a lot of people. Lot of people will provide support to you.
Yeah.
So I think these three things: extensive planning, working with the requisite software, having about the working knowledge of those software, and the culture of working within a team. This you will have to do on day-to-day basis. This will be a must in any good sector.
Yeah, so I think very well summarized, Vikrant. So I totally agree. So it is something which is very different than that of typically what is it that we get when it comes to PSU. So typically people read a lot about their core subjects, but somewhere when it comes to studying about those things which you would be using on day-to-day basis, something which is not there. I'm sure this is going to be very, very helpful for the students.
Yeah.
So just adding on to the question that I asked, can you tell what are the biggest challenges that you guys face day-to-day basis? Because typically people have that understanding that it's a public sector job. Maybe people are sitting doing their job happily. So do you think there are challenges, and if there are, then what kind of challenges do you foresee on this basis?
The biggest challenge, as to my understanding, and which happens across all PSUs or in any kind of core sector as well, even if you are in private, is that to be very sure of the decisions you make, especially technical decisions. You will be required to make technical decisions in your role, and you have to be as thorough as possible regarding the norms associated with it, all the standards that are being followed, the costing, which is very important, especially with PSU people, because in every assignment, you might have to make certain decisions which will involve cost. Certain projects which may run into multi-millions. Even in my initial years, I was working on projects which were around 200, 300, 400 crores in quantum. And that quantum keeps on increasing with your promotion and with the kind of assignments you take. So when the cost is involved, and especially in PSUs, these are kind of indirectly public money. So you have to be very careful. Even a slight negligence, even if your intentions are good, might ultimately come back to bite to you if proven otherwise somewhere down the line that because of this decision, company had to face certain laws or there were certain, undue advantages to anybody else or any other party. So the biggest challenge is there to be very sure of the decision. And believe me, in PSUs earlier, this might be the case, but especially now in bigger PSUs, especially in Coal India, a lot of professionalism expected from the younger executives. The things are no more the same. The assignments have grown in number. In quantum, the challenges have increased. There is increased competition from everywhere. Even the kind of monitoring that is being done, that has increased. Everything is digitized now. You cannot escape responsibility. So that is there. You have to be very thorough on your decision, and that comes every day in every kind of decision.
So rightly explained. So somewhere, those lines that people used to have between, let's say, a government job versus a private job, they are kind of, maybe narrowing. And so that skill development per se is something which is definitely required in the PSUs as well. So one question that I have, which I have not understood so far. So can you tell what kind of career progression happens in a PSU like CIL? As in, so do you keep on working on your functional aspect of it, as in you are just doing technical stuff, or you can grow to become someone who is completely into a managerial role?
See, with PSUs, this is something which can happen. In other companies, and especially in private sector, they would require a management degree from you to assign you any managerial role. But in public sectors, increasingly this is happening. Even with us, it happened. Earlier, it used to be, when people used to join, it used to be junior engineer trainee. Now, when we are recruited, we are given a designation of management trainee. So our roles are mostly techno-commercial. So initially, for the initial, I say, suppose 20 years of your career, you might be expected to develop more on your functional areas, more on your technical areas. But with increasing promotions, with increasing responsibilities, and with the amount of people who are, getting junior to you, the bigger team you lead, the bigger team you operate in, it is expected of you, and at a certain level, that you should have management skills, and that becomes key to your success as well. Because after a certain point of time in our higher grade, our promotions are not only done on the basis of seniority. By the way, to provide information to everybody, earlier it used to be seniority cum merit. Now the criteria for promotion has shifted to merit cum seniority. So your annual rating, how you have performed, that plays a very big role in your promotion. And the last promotion which our companies offer, that is the general manager position within the executive grade.
Yeah.
So that comes with an interview. So unless and until you are not good with people, you do not have the required management skill to manage your team and deliver the results. So you won't be able to succeed in your career, especially in PSU.
Yeah, I think that'll burst a lot of myths. As in, you just have to grow, or let's use you just have to hang around and you will keep on getting promotions. So somewhere that myth is no more there. So people have to work hard. People have to be good with their people skills, their communication skills, and they have to grow with their responsibilities to ensure that they are not just getting promoted, but also they are able to handle bigger responsibilities.
Exactly.
Perfect. So let me go back a little bit on this information. So Vikrant, can you tell how was your experience as in preparing to be into CIL and then maybe so what was the process like? Was it an exam that you appeared for, or was it like an interview? How exactly was the process for CIL when you were sitting for it?
Yeah. So because I was in a government institute, I was in National Institute of Technology.
Okay.
So CIL came to our campus. We did not have to sit for any separate exam. There was a merit list according to which they pick up a few top 20, top 25 candidates for the interview.
Okay.
And we had to go through our GD, first of all group discussion, and then the last round being interview. We did not have any written examination, and CIL always makes it like that only. If they have to take a written examination, it will be off campus.
Okay.
And it will be widely advertised. There are two routes of getting into CIL, which is one is on campus for the people like me who got into the CIL through on campus route. Another is off campus, where you have to write an all India examination, which is being conducted by Coal India. Then you get into the stage of interview after clearing. So that was the process for us. But then in interview also, what I would suggest to all of the aspirants is that focus on the basics of your engineering, especially those first and second year books. Don't go on, mugging up your final year high concepts or the concepts of, so much of updated concepts which are not even required in practical. Most of the times it happens, or that myth is we come out onto our jobs, that most of the things which we have studied in our engineering are not even used in our day-to-day jobs. What happens is in our day-to-day, especially in industrial area, what happens is the application aspect of those topics, especially the basic engineering things we done in first and second year, they are done at an advanced level. So to reach that advanced level, you first need to have a very good basic foundation of it. And in interviews also, they ask very practical, basic questions, which what happens is sometimes we even forget to develop just because we were busy, mugging up those third year, fourth year books. And finally, when the interview comes, even the simplest and the basics of questions like why a pump is if a pump is vibrating on field, what may be the errors, how can you deduce that, what thing you have to correct, because that is what is actually required in your practical application or on the field. So if you're not able to answer something as simple as that what might be the plausible reasons of it? What is the use of making efforts towards all that third year and fourth year books? So I would suggest all of them to just have a very good understanding and think out of those concepts, what are the concepts which will actually be applied onto the field, and how we should be able to perceive that and prepare for it. And if they can have industrial training before it, especially in the sector in which they are aiming for. Some might have a preference for NTPC, or some might have a preference for Coal India, or some might have a preference for a CIL, GAIL, etc. So whatever sector you are aspiring for, try and have as much as industrial experience. That will guide you as to what you have to prepare, what is actually happening on the field.
Yeah, I think wonderfully explained. So although it sounds very cliched, but somewhere when we keep on studying a lot about those complex subjects, because we are worried that there'll be a lot of questions that will be asked from these subjects, somewhere we forget a very basic definition such as what exactly does a transformer does, right? So I think those questions, like what exactly does a transformer do, is something which should naturally come to the people. They have to think about those questions very naturally, and once those things are very, very clear to the students, that is where maybe they can go to a step 2 or a step 3. like asking so let's say studying the questions which are like more detailed in nature. So can you maybe give some references as to like the kind of books or let's say the online resources, such as some websites or blogs, or maybe the pages that you think can help let's say someone in growing in an organization like CIL. So what kind of references should they refer to?
See, first of all, as I said earlier, for their interviews, they should only focus on what books they have and on the basics of it, developing a complete understanding. I mean, a simple equation as a three-phase power is root 3 IV to cos theta. It might seem very simple.
Yeah.
But if someone asks you what exactly is the physical significance of cos theta, why cos theta, why not sin theta, why not tan theta?
Yeah.
This may actually bewilder anyone. They might be now, they might be feeling that whatever I've studied was of no use. So to develop basics upon basics during their interview. And when you come down to the company, you might not have to worry about anything, because companies, they have ample resources, ample literature, ample standards, norms. They provide you a lot of training. So you don't have to worry much about how to develop yourself when, especially technically I'm talking about your technical and functional skills. When you enter into a company, the company takes care of it. They provide you ample opportunities to develop. The major part is that you have to identify, which I will advise to everyone, as I said earlier, try and identify those skills. If you can talk to people who are actually employed in that sector, that what are the other skills apart from their technical skills, apart from their technical requirements, like I said, AutoCAD, which is there in almost all the engineering syllabus, but people hardly, give any attention to it, but it comes very handy when you're on the job. MS Office, people know very basics about it, but if you are good at Excel, if you are good at PowerPoint, then you are sure to succeed in your office, because you will be doing something which is out of the box or not being followed currently at the company. But if you can even just, by 5%, if you can improve your day-to-day Excel sheets, which are, being used to report to your higher up, that can lead to a very good impact. So that way, they don't have to worry about what will happen when they enter into the company, but they can actually inquire about what are the other soft skills or any other small skills or other functional softwares which they might learn beforehand when they have, because company takes care of them once they enter into it.
Okay, so one last question that I have is, so in PSUs, typically what we have seen is that people used to have like longer careers, as in, people used to stay in PSUs for years, as in 15, 20, 25 years. And some people, start in a particular company and they end up retiring from that company itself, right? So what do you think, like, keeps you motivated? As in, what do you think, makes you, ticking and makes you keep going on daily basis and keep, be excited about the work that you're doing?
See, obviously, PSUs do offer a lot of job security, no doubt in that. In terms of job security, you are always assured in a PSU. Yeah. But what has changed, I can tell you about that as I told earlier, there is now merit come seniority.
Yeah.
So, first of all, to grow, to actually excel, you might have to have developed all the skills which you never had thought about. And especially what I would like to suggest is, or even what I follow in my day-to-day career, is to have a proactive approach.
Okay.
Right? I mean, it's very, very easy, especially in PSU jobs. And as a matter of fact, in core sectors in other areas as well, as I have seen certain private companies as well, where people are working in private companies in core sector, especially the engineering work. It's very easy, to fall into the shadows, stay comfortable, stay in your cocoon. Yeah. And keep working, keep your head down, keep working. That is very easy, especially in a PSU. Yeah. But what will happen is, first of all, your personal growth will stop.
Correct.
You will be you will be doing only what your assignments are given, and apart from that, you will not make any proactive approach. So if you do not make any other approach, your personal growth stops. Apart from that, especially now in present scenario, because private sector PSUs are being pushed by private sector a lot. Not many people might be knowing, but there are already people know that there are a lot of private sectors in power sector, right? In power companies, apart from NTPC, there is now Adani as well, and many other private sectors.
Correct.
In coal also now commercial mining has started. Okay. So what they have started doing is they have started giving competition to PSUs.
Correct.
So PSUs obviously will not lose that easily. They will also try and play more on their dominant position. So for that, they will need people who are actually, can stand apart, are not, comfortable in their own comfort zone. They are actually taking an initiative, showing to the management, yes, we are doing something extra from what we have been given.
Yeah.
Right. So those people are actually rewarded. Those people are actually, despite, irrespective of their grade. Now it is not the culture that only strict hierarchy will be followed. Even a CMD of the company, if he feels that a deputy manager or a manager is doing a much better work at what is required for his decision making than a general manager, he will promote that manager. You will be surprised to know I have been offered to travel to China on behalf of my company on an international expo twice, just because I took certain initiatives which nobody else was ready to take. I learned about those aspects. I presented it to my management that I've made something which is not being followed in our company as of now. But if we do this, we can benefit it in this way. Or I was one of the few people who started solar initiative in my company 5 years back. So because of that, those proactive approaches, I was rewarded. I am being recognized at my company, and it is not just for me, for every other star performer of my company. There was one single aspect that they had a proactive approach. They refused to just stay into the shadows or lie comfortable on their seat and just doing what they're given.
Yeah.
And apart from that, which is common for every sector, I would say, I mean, every engineering student, or rather, as a matter of fact, every student should work upon, is their people skills and their communication.
Yeah.
People skills is trying to behave, understanding how to behave with all the across all the spectrum of the people associated with it, be it your seniors, be it your juniors, be it even your non-executive subordinate staff.
Yeah.
If there are people, if in a closed door, or people apart from you have nothing negative to say about you, that plays a long role. I mean, even if 4 people are saying positive, and if even if one person comes up and says something negative about you, that changes the discussion around the whole room. And if everybody has to say positive about you, that plays a huge role. And if you have good communication skills, then in PSU especially, that is rewarded like anything, because it is something of a rare skill. I don't know why, but it's a rare skill in PSU that if someone has a good communication skill, they are rewarded like anything. I can say it by my personal experience.
I think that is wonderful. Actually, somewhere the kind of perspective that I received just now is something that that actually I was not expecting specifically from someone who is working in a private sector unit. Public sector unit. So Vikrant, actually, it was a wonderful having a conversation with you. The thoughts that you have given, I'm sure, will make some of the people who are aspirant of PSUs rethink, and some of those strategies will be applied by them. So thank you so much for coming. We'll keep your coordinates, your LinkedIn coordinates, in the description, so that we can connect with you. And if, let's say, they have any questions, they can reach out to you.
I'll be glad. I'll be glad if I can help any student, in making them clear their confusions.
Yeah.
Or if they can actually make something worthwhile out of their career, I'll be glad.
Sure. Thanks, Vikrant.